بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Welcome to episode 15 of the series Filtering Out What the Prophet ﷺ Never Said. A brother asked, would you please discuss the authenticity of the following hadith: differing in my nation is a mercy, or differing amongst my ummah is a mercy, as it has been attributed to the Messenger ﷺ. Jazakallah khair. So this hadith, اختلاف أمتي رحمة, the differing amongst my ummah is a mercy, is a fabricated hadith. It's not authentic, it's not true at all. It's a completely false hadith that is not authentic. It's fabricated, as the scholars of hadith have pointed out, and it's la asla lahu. It has no basis. It's not found in any of the books of hadith. So it's completely fabricated, false, made up hadith that is not true or authentic. Now, even when it comes to the meaning, unfortunately, some people sometimes try to go out of their way just to find an interpretation for that hadith, to say, look, it still holds true, even if it's not an authentic hadith, the meaning is still good. In reality, even the meaning in of itself isn't correct. Even the meaning isn't correct. Not only is it a fabricated hadith, but even the meaning of those words, that differing amongst the ummah is a mercy, is not a correct meaning, because we see from the Quran, all the verses, so many verses in the Quran, and we'll mention a few now, inshallah, and the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, what has been authentically established, as well as what the companions radiallahu anhum were upon, we see that it was the opposite of that. The understanding we get is the opposite of that. That differing isn't something good in of itself, isn't something good. But rather, people should strive, as Muslims, we should strive to unite upon the truth. Unite upon the true teachings of the deen, according to the Quran and authentic sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and don't be like those who differed and dispersed. Those who dispersed and differed after the truth have come to them, after the clear proof and the truth has come to them. And what does Allah says? وَأُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. And those who differ and disperse after the truth, the clear proof from the truth and guidance has come to them, those are the ones who have severe punishment. Severe punishment. So Allah is warning us from differing and dispersing after the truth has become clear to us. Allah says in another verse, وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ, and if Allah wishes or wills, لَجَعَلَ النَّاسَ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً, He would have made all of the people one nation. وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ, and they will continue, meaning the people will continue to differ, to be in disagreement. Then Allah says after that, إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ, except whomever your Lord has mercy upon. They will continue to differ except those whom Allah has mercy upon. We see from this verse, it's the opposite. The meaning is the opposite of what that fabricated hadith claims, that differing is a mercy. Here Allah is telling us that they will continue to differ except whom Allah has mercy upon. So it's the opposite of mercy. Differing is the opposite. And from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, we know from the very well-known, authentically established hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ said, فَإِنَّهُ مَنْ يَعِشْ مِنْكُمْ يَرَى اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا, whoever lives amongst you, live long enough after me from amongst you, addressing the companions radiallahu anhum, will see a lot of differing. So if you live long enough, you'll see a lot of differing. What did the Prophet ﷺ advise after that? He didn't say, well, differing is a mercy. No, you will see a lot of differing. So beware of newly introduced matters, for indeed it's a misguidance. فَإِنَّهَا ضَلَالَةٌ, it's misguidance. Prophet ﷺ is warning us from differing, from innovations. And then he said, فَمَنْ أَدْرَكَ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ, whoever reaches that from you, whoever is there when this differing happens, فَعَلَيْهِ بِسُنَّتِي, stick to my sunnah. He didn't say differing is good or is mercy or is fine, but rather he said stick to my sunnah. You see a lot of differing? Stick to my sunnah. Stick to what's clear from the deen. Stick to my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided khalifas after me. Bite on it with your molar teeth. So the Prophet ﷺ is showing us, when you see the differing, stick to his sunnah. And the sunnah of the khulafa after him, stick to that. Stick to that. Don't follow that closely. Don't follow any of the differing. Don't say it's mercy. This shows it's the opposite of mercy. And Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who believe, أطيعوا الله, obey Allah, وأطيعوا الرسول, and obey the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and those who have been appointed over you, and those who have authority over you, your leadership, your rulers. فإن تنازعتم في شيء, and if you disagree about anything or in anything, فردوه إلى الله والرسول. فردوه إلى الله والرسول. So return it to Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Meaning, take it back to what Allah has said, take it back to what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has authentically said. إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله, if you believe in Allah واليوم الآخر, and the last day, ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا. Indeed, that is better and a more correct interpretation. Meaning, following what Allah and the Prophet ﷺ have said is better. When you disagree, that's what's an obligation upon us as believers. If you disagree about anything, return it to what Allah and the Messenger ﷺ have said in the matter, rather than disagreeing. That is better. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that this is better. This is the right approach and understanding and interpretation of the teachings of the deen. And even from Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, Al-khilafu shar, differing is evil. Differing is evil. Now the context for this statement is that Uthman radiallahu anhu prayed in Mina 4 rak'ahs, performed the prayer 4 rak'ahs instead of 2, instead of shortening it. As a traveler, he prayed it 4 rak'ahs. So Abdullah Mas'ud expressed his disagreement with Uthman and what he's doing. He said, Abdullah Mas'ud said, I prayed with the Prophet ﷺ 2 rak'ahs, and with Abu Bakr 2 rak'ahs. Meaning this prayer, he shortened it. He prayed the prayer instead of 4, 2. He shortened it. With Dhuhr, Asr, or Isha, as we know, or 4 rak'ahs. When during traveling, they are shortened to 2 rak'ahs. Fajr and Maghrib stay the same. He said, I prayed with the Prophet ﷺ 2 rak'ahs, and with Abu Bakr 2 rak'ahs, and with Umar 2 rak'ahs, and with Uthman, for the first part of his imara, of his rulership, of his khilafah, 2 rak'ahs. And then he completed, and then Uthman prayed 4. So Uthman radiallahu anhu prayed 4 rak'ahs in Mina. He prayed the full prayer, even though he was traveling, but he prayed 4 rak'ahs. So Abdullah Mas'ud was disputing that. He disagreed with that. He said the Prophet ﷺ prayed it 2, and Abu Bakr prayed it 2, and Umar prayed it 2. And Uthman, for the first part of his khilafah, also prayed it 2. But then later on in his khilafah that year, he prayed it 4. And then Abdullah Mas'ud said, ثُمَّ تَفَرَّقَتْ بِكُمُ الطُّرُقُ. Then the paths dispersed with you. Meaning some people were praying it 4, some people were praying it 2. And he said, I wish that I have from the 4 rak'ahs 2 that are accepted. 2 that are accepted, meaning accepted by Allah. From those 4, I wish I only have 2 that are accepted. So he said that he disagreed with Uthman and the fact that he prayed 4 rak'ahs for the full prayer rather than shortening it and praying 2 like the Prophet ﷺ did, and like Abu Bakr did, and like Umar did, and like Uthman used to do in previous years as well of his khilaf. Then Abdullah Mas'ud, after that, he prayed 4 rak'ahs. He prayed 4 rak'ahs. So it was said to him, you criticized Uthman, you disagreed with Uthman that it shouldn't be 4, it should be 2, but then you prayed 4. Meaning, what's up with that? You disagreed with Uthman that shouldn't be 4, that you're saying it should be 2, but then you prayed behind him. You prayed 4 with him. So Abdullah Mas'ud said, Al-khilafu shar. In response to that, he said, Al-khilafu shar. Disagreement is evil. Differing is evil. So even though he disagreed with him that it shouldn't be 4, it should be prayed 2, shortened, prayer should be shortened, but he still prayed behind him so that he doesn't divide the Muslims. He doesn't separate and disagree and cause this disagreement amongst the people because he's disagreeing with Uthman radiallahu anhu. May Allah be pleased with them both and with all the companions. But we see how they dealt with disagreement. They didn't say it was good. No. Khilafu shar. Disagreeing is evil. But he prayed behind him so that he doesn't cause more problems within the ummah. Now, let's understand the context behind Uthman's action here, radiallahu anhu, because he prayed 4 rak'ahs. He didn't shorten the prayer in Mina, even though the Prophet ﷺ shortened the prayer and Abu Bakr and Umar shortened the prayer, radiallahu anhuma. Uthman knew this sunnah and he followed it himself by Ibn Mas'ud's own statement. He said, and the first part of Uthman's khilafah, he prayed it too as well. But then that year, he prayed it 4. So what happened? Another authentic narration explains to us why Uthman, the reasoning behind why Uthman radiallahu anhu prayed 4 rak'ahs rather than 2, rather than shortening. That Uthman prayed the complete prayer in Mina, 4 rak'ahs, because the Bedouins were too many that year. There's a lot of them who went for Hajj that year. A lot of people from different remote areas of the Arabian Peninsula. And so he prayed 4 rak'ahs to teach them that prayer is 4. To teach them that this is the number of rak'ahs of each of those prayers. Because, in other words, he was afraid if he shortened the prayer, there's a lot of new people coming for Hajj. Those people don't have too much knowledge. They live in remote areas. They don't have access to the companions. They don't have too many access to knowledge. They might think that prayer is 2 rak'ahs only. Even when they're not traveling, they might end up praying Dhuhr, Asr, and Isha 2 rak'ahs only rather than 4. And so that's why Uthman, from his ijtihad, he decided to pray. He saw fit that he would pray 4 rak'ahs. He'd pray the full prayer so that the way people would learn. So you see, he's not going against the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, on purpose, just to differ and oppose the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, because he himself, in the first part of his Khilafah, was shortening prayer as well. But when that year there was a lot of new people from Bedouins from the remote regions who joined Hajj and were there to teach them that Salah is 4, that's how they should pray it when they go back, return home to their homes, to where the areas where they were living, that they should pray the full prayer, 4 rak'ahs for these prayers, rather than shorten it and pray 2. Because if they prayed and he prayed it 2, they might think, well, they might not know that, well, he's traveling, so that's why he's praying 2, otherwise it's 4, and then they might go back home, and even when they're not traveling, they would end up praying it 2 rak'ahs only rather than 4. So to sum this whole episode up, and inshallah maybe we'll talk in more details about a lot of these points that we've brought up, but the point is that this hadith, the differing or disagreement amongst my ummah as a mercy, is a fabricated hadith that is not true. And as we've seen, the opposite, that as Muslims, as believers, we should take everything we disagree upon back to the Quran and the authentic Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, and we should strive and try our best to agree upon the truth, to unite upon the truth. Barakallahu fikum, jazakumullah khaira, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.